that we can make sure it's up and running.
Why don't you go see your boyfriend? Yeah. Why don't you go see your boyfriend?
Yeah, he's got a nice room. You won't have it long. He left a call for 7 a.m.
Listen properly.
Can you please look up this site?
See if we can figure out something.
Okay, I am aware of the floating heart. I just quickly need to wait for the other one to end and then jump over here. I can close that because I can't do it. It lands up being silly if I do it like that. Okay, now I need to try and get that same layout. Oh, damn. Do you know what? I'm going to have to go and yeah, it takes a few seconds. Like it gives you time. I'm going to have to add. Everybody pause. I'll play you a new song that I put in to StreamYard from the same people that did that one that was so nice. Where are you? Yeah.
Radio up and the blinds pulled down. You love it when nobody's around. I wanna call out round town, but you bite my lip, don't make a sound. I'll be damned if I'm leaving without you.
Hey, give me a sec to go and do the. No, I'll play it and then I'll do the other camera. They're so good. I love.
And who was the call from, and what did they say?
Man, it was a man. I got a call, and it was I think it was a detective. I think, and I remember him being very calm and very nonchalant. And so that's why I thought, well, this is not real. And so I started screaming. I had a family member that was there with me. I started screaming for them to use their phone to call the hospital where the guy said she was at. And my family member called the hospital and said it was real. And I still didn't believe it. And so I called a police chief that I know somewhere around here, a captain or somebody. And I said, there's a detective named such and such on the phone telling me these things. Like, is this real? Is this a real person or not? And that person told me that it was real as well. And I just remember, screaming really loud and throwing up everywhere. And
What did they tell you?
I remember throwing up. Did I have spaghetti that day? It was a lot of throw up. It was something red. I'm sorry.
What did they tell you?
I don't remember that. Oh, no, I don't remember that. Hold on. I don't remember. He said, my family member called the hospital and spoke to, I think, either the head nurse or medical examiner or somebody. And that lady read me stuff that the Robinson County, I guess, had wrote on a piece of paper. And she was reading me suicide and the weapon and where it was at and all these different facts. And so then because the detective would not tell me it was suicide. And then I called him back and told him what the hospital told me. And he was pissed off and asked me who that lady's name was. And I didn't know her name. And if I did know, I wasn't going to tell him anyway, because I'm glad she told me anyway. And so, and I said, is this stuff true? And I can't remember if he said yes or just hung up. I don't remember.
Do you remember what he said though?
Oh man, I don't remember at all. If I try to enunciate it, I'll probably be making something up based on all the crashing of everything going on. So I can't tell you for sure.
Did you ever question the findings that the authorities gave to you that this was suicide?
No, I mean, I'm not a detective. I watched Scooby-Doo growing up, but that's what everybody seems to be acting like, is they're, part of the mystery machine. But my Lord, like, let my wife, let her be at peace. Like, she's in heaven. She's not worrying about all this stuff. Let her rest. Let her memory rest. She had suicidal tendencies over and over, year after year, off medication especially. She went to Dick's Pawn Shop before, purchased a weapon, and tried to do the same thing. She drove out in the middle of nowhere. She called 911, left a voice message. I don't really understand what else could be. But you know what? I'm not a professional, so I don't know.
In other words, it all added up to you. It made sense to you.
I mean, I'm not a detective. If she had heart surgery, I'm not going to question the heart surgeon. I don't know anything about detective work at all.
Right, but it's your wife. I mean, and them telling you her life has ended.
Are you trying to ask me if I think somebody murdered her?
Do you think anybody murdered her?
No.
We have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. There is a lot more of News Nation's exclusive interview with John Paul Miller coming up, including questions about the very day after Mica's death, when John Paul disclosed it to his congregation in a bizarre sermon, a sermon in which he revealed private and then in it dead.
Hit me.
Raised eyebrows.
One time this week, 4 times this week, and each time y'all knew that she wasn't. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And yeah, it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. And we're gonna have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. I got this lay next to her body and spent down with her body about 4 times this week, and each time it still didn't hit me. I thought she was going to wake up. I even tried to raise her from the dead one time this week.
News Nation correspondent Rich McHugh asked Pastor John Paul Miller about those comments and those moments, and here's his reaction.
One of the things that raised eyebrows initially for the public was when you gave a sermon here and you announced publicly that she had committed suicide. And you attributed it to her mental health. Why did you feel the need to come out with that at that moment?
That's a great question. So first, let's discuss why I preached that morning. Is that okay? Okay, so people have been asking that. So have you ever taken any psychology classes or anything like that?
Very few.
Okay, yeah, I haven't taken any. So I would love to find a book or a psychology professor or someone that could tell me the correct response when you spend 7 years trying to keep someone alive by just taking a few pills that their family tells them not to take. Then when they don't take it, they go into a hospital, their family takes them out, and then you spend 3 months trying to get them help when their family's telling them that you're evil and the bad person. And then it finally happens, the thing you've been dreading for 7 years, then you're trying to prevent for 7 years, then it happens. I don't know what the correct response is, right? Am I supposed to stay home and cry? Am I supposed to go out with my friends? Am I supposed to go to a bar and drink? I don't know what the right thing is, right? As a pastor, should I just get on my knees and pray? I mean, I want to die in that moment. And so the next morning, I remember thinking, okay, if I stay home, I'm probably going to kill myself. I'm probably going to just go to heaven and be with her and be done, because I need to be around people, but I don't want to be around people and come to church if I'm not going to preach, because then I'll be judging the guy that's preaching the whole time, and I can preach just as easy as I can breathe. So I'm just going to go in the mode of what I'm normally going to do and just continue my life normally until I finally have to deal with what's going on. And so I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know the right response. I wish somebody had told me, in hindsight, if I go back in time, I probably would have done the same thing and still preached. And then at the end, and the sermon was about leaving your legacy and the people you leave on earth and your memory that's being left. So I thought maybe that's God. Then I thought, you know what, Mica would want me to preach. That's exactly what she'd want me to do. She'd be telling me to do it. She'd be trying to force me to do it. So I preached. And then at the end of the sermon, when I made the announcement was made. And of course, I'm not in a clear thinking frame of mind. I mean, it's like, it's not like I'm, kumbaya and got it all together. I said what I said because I didn't want them to think that it was because she's a bad person, or I wanted them to know, like, if Mica does anything that's out of character, it's because of her mental illness. It's not because of her. Like, she's a wonderful woman, full of integrity. When she's on her medicine, she's black and white, does the right thing, does not like the wrong thing being done. Off medication, she's a totally different person, and I didn't want them to see her as someone that was bad. I wanted them to know it's just a sickness, like if you have heart disease or if you have, diabetes or whatever, mental illness, you need medicine to continue going forward. And so that's why I said that.
Also, something I found interesting in that moment, you said, before I tell you this news, I'm going to paraphrase here. I'm going to tell you this news, and I want you to leave. I don't want you to stand up and talk about it. Why?
That's a great question. And that was actually intentional, because the last thing I wanted to hear was people talking about my wife. I wanted them to go home and take it to Jesus before they start, doing what some Christians like to do and just chatter. And I didn't want to experience the extra pain. I didn't want to be mad at somebody in my church because I heard them say, well, I'm not even going to guess at what somebody could have said, but I didn't want anybody to say anything negative about my wife.
Another point of concern, let's say, for people watching, was when you gave a eulogy. Was something concerning. People said that was concerning that you said that you tried to raise Mica from the dead. And I believe at another point you said you laid next to her body in the morgue. Is that true?
I didn't lay next to her body. I mean, I couldn't, you can't lay next to her because her body's up on this thing, but I mean, I hugged her and I sat on the floor, next to her and just talked to her for a while. But yeah, I tried raising her from the dead, because you know what? If it had worked, we'd have a whole different story. But God forbid me not try it and always wonder the rest of my life, would it have worked? Right? Jesus did it. Elisha did it. It's a few other people in the Bible. And so, yes, if somebody I love more than anything in the world has passed away what I believe to be an early death, you better believe I'm going to try to, in Jesus' name, raise them from the dead. I believe in healing. I believe in miracles. I believe in the raising of the dead. I'm a one God, apostolic, tongue-talking, holy, rolling, born-again, heaven-bound believer in the liberated power of Jesus' name. I'm not ashamed of it.
Well, you can't argue that it would certainly be a different story if he'd been able to raise Mica Miller from the dead. Still to come. Remember the apology letter that John Paul Miller wrote to Mica Miller, apologizing and admitting all of the awful things that he did to her, like tracking her car, slashing her tires, posting a nude photo of her online? Well, now the pastor says he didn't do most of that. He says he only wrote those things at her behest. And he's got a message for all his critics out there who say he drove her to suicide. We're going to play it for you next when our News Nation exclusive interview with Pastor John Paul Miller continues. It's both abused her, quote, I can think to
relationship with Mica.
Here's more of his conversation with News Nation correspondent Rich McHugh.
Would you characterize your relationship with Mica as healthy?
Oh man, when she was on her medicine, we had the greatest marriage you could ever imagine. We spent every day together. I don't know any other couple that spends every day. So we wake up. Well, she'd kind of wake up before me, but we'd go work out together every day, 5 days a week. We'd eat lunch together every day. We would work together every day. We'd pick up the kids, do stuff with the kids every day. We'd go to dinner every night together. Then every night we would have our routine. So there's 3 things we would do. We would either sit in the bathtub together for 2 hours until the water went from steaming hot to ice cold. She bought this big air mattress we'd put in the back of the truck, and we'd go park somewhere here in Myrtle Beach where there's no lights. And she'd bring us some hot chocolate, and we'd lay on the air mattress for 2 hours. Or we would go out on the beach with our beach blanket and lay there for 2 hours. But the point was no cell phones, just her and I. She would talk 90% of the time. I would talk 10% of the time, and I'd just listen. And so every night, 2 hours, we'd hang out together. And so was our marriage healthy? It's probably as healthy as any other American marriage.
Have you ever abused your wife?
Never, not once in any way, shape, or form. I took better care of her than anybody could ever take care of her. I never asked her to clean the house, not once in 7 years of marriage. She never had to cook a single meal. She never had to work. She was never harmed physically in any way.
In a letter or in an email you wrote to Mica, you apologized,
yes.
Right? You apologized for tracking her, for messing with her tires, for posting the picture. So that's all true, right?
So great question. I'm so glad you asked that, actually. If I wanted to lie about that, I would just say I never wrote the letter, right? Because how can you prove that I wrote somebody a letter? There's no signature, there's no name, it's not in my handwriting, but I 100% wrote the letter. And I did it because the night that she was with me, the last night we were together for 4 hours, at one point, because the whole 4 hours I'm trying to get her to take her medicine. And then she said, my family doesn't want me to, they don't want me to come inside the house. Maybe it's your house, come inside. So finally get to the point, she says, you know what? I'll take my medicine and I'll come home if you'll give me $10,000 and if you'll write me an apology letter.
So let me understand this correctly. The email that you wrote to Mica, apologizing for hiring a PI, tracking her, messing with her tires, and posting a topless photo of her. You wrote that, you say,
yes,
but
sir.
Now you're saying that you didn't actually do these things.
I did the PI thing, but so over the years, what I've learned with her is when she's in a delusional state of mind, I have to play into it in order to get her back on medicine. So the first year or two, when she'd say something, I'd say, that's not true, that's not real. She'd get mad and blow up and, knock a hole in the wall or something like that. So then by December 2019, I think it was, we were watching TV and she just stopped and said, you're a double agent. And I said, no, I'm not. She says, yes, you are. She said, and I'm going to call the police. She said, you're a double agent. You've stolen my things. And I'm going to put you in jail. And I was like, oh my goodness, what I'll do. She hadn't been taking her medicine.
So just to be clear, you wrote this to Mica, but now you're saying you didn't do those things.
No, I did not slash the tire. I did not. I don't think there's a naked picture of her anywhere, ever. Anyway, I think that was just a made up thing. And I think that her tire just got something ran over from what I understand. I don't know. I didn't see anything. But I did hire the PI before. I did everything I could to stop her from getting a weapon, everything you could imagine. I hired a private eye and I said, put a tracker on her car. And if she gets anywhere near a gun store, please let me know. I did everything I could think of. And
did that private eye alert you?
She never.
That day?
No, I had stopped paying for it about 4 weeks beforehand. Yeah.
Why?
Running out of money and people telling me that she was totally fine and I'm wasting my time.
So what do you say to the doubters and critics who say you drove her to suicide?
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. So wait, she wasn't with me. Because listen, with me, she didn't commit suicide. Apart from me for 3 months and with her family, she did commit suicide. One of the last things she showed me a book she's reading called I Love Jesus, But I Want to Die. And I said, why do you want to die? She said, because I can't come home because my family won't let me. That's what I say to them.
Still to come, there is no question John Paul Miller's behavior has seemed odd in the weeks and months since Mica died. And after the break, he tries to explain it, like why he dressed like Spider-Man and walked around his neighborhood, and why he was squealing like a child while rolling around on the grass. And then been charged with anything. JP, even the ones between them before she dies, and Ruth almost 3 months ago. Her family and her friends most certainly hoped that she'd rest in peace. But that has not happened. Since that tragic day, her estranged husband, Pastor John Paul Miller, has been the subject of whispers and rumors and rampant suspicion, even though the pastor hasn't been charged with anything. JP, as he's known to his family and friends, he's been very tight-lipped, saying almost nothing publicly about what happened to his wife and what happened between them before she died. But now he is talking, and he's talking to us. And he's answering all of our questions, even the ones that were uncomfortable and awkward, and the ones that made him cry. Here is his conversation with News Nation correspondent Rich McHugh.
So sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
You need a minute?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
What's tripping you up?
Just being able to tell, just being able to talk about everything. It feels like that people don't care to hear the truth. They just want to go off of feelings and believe whoever screams the loudest rather than whoever has the proof.
Do you feel that you did anything that you would change? Do you feel any part responsible?
God, that's a great question. Man, that's such a good question. Wow, what a good question. Can I have a second to think about it?
Sure.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. What would I do differently? Oh man. I know what I do. I know what I do. I would not involve her family when she's having mental episodes and is schizophrenic and is off her meds. I would never have texted them.
We've seen you dressed as Spider-Man in videos.
Okay, let me just wait, hold on. I'm not Spider-Man. I can neither confirm nor deny.
To me, it says Spider-Man as the person who's texting me. So we've seen you in videos dressed as Spider-Man. We know there's a Spider-Man character in your back of your house somewhere. Her family wonders if you have identity issues and this need to align with superheroes. What's your reaction? And what's the reason for the Spider-Man?
Well, first of all, I can neither confirm nor deny that I've ever put on a Spider-Man costume. But you'll never see me in the same room with Spider-Man, I will say that. And I don't know, people say stuff. Me and Mica would go
So you don't get in the Spider-Man costume? Yeah. I mean, you just sent me a picture with you and Spider-Man.
Me and Mica, we go to Comic-Cons every year. We both dress up. Mica dressed up more than I did, actually. There are times I didn't dress up and she did. We love that kind of stuff. She was Wonder Woman, she was Spider-Woman, she was Mystique, she was a lot of different characters.
So you're not even going to grant that there's something odd here?
No, I'm not. No. I put on the Spider-Man costume. I go see handicapped children. I'll go visit kids that love comic books and they're handicapped, and I'll pretend like I'm Spider-Man, and I'll take them a comic book and do videos with them and stuff like that.
One of the videos that has surfaced recently is from years ago. And I'm sure you know what it is. You're sitting face down on the ground and you're freaking out and you're talking about, you're literally squealing about being eaten by ants. Taking the wrong meds, that you missed your family.
Is your medication something they gave you?
I mean, for viewers, for people watching it, the common thought is, what is going on here, and do you have a drug problem?
So I fell out of a tree, a giant magnolia tree. It was like 300 years old. I broke 12 bones. It was 10 to 12 bones. I don't know if you count fingers. Yeah, it was count fingers. Anyway, I have all this metal in my body, and I'd never taken pain meds in my life, and I just had my body cast taken off, and so I took a little bit too much pain meds that day.
That's it.
That's
Just what?
That's-
Percocet?
I don't remember any of them. It was 2017, 2016. And it was like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. And I was missing my family. My wife, Mica, and I, we started through an affair. And so we were both married to people, and then we got divorced. And I was missing my family because I'd lost my, family at the time. And I was on pain meds, and it just all went together. I fell out of a tree, broke a bunch of bones, took too many pain meds. That was that story.
Not hallucinogenics.
Not what is it? What would hallucinogenic be?
Make you hallucinate.
Well, what makes you hallucinate?
Drugs.
Like illegal drugs?
Hallucinogenic drugs, yeah.
Oh, I've never done a legal drug my whole life.
Okay.
Well, oh crap, that was a lie. I'm sorry, that was a lie. When I was 16 years old, one time I was in a truck with two of my friends, and they were both smoking pot. I didn't smoke any, but they do a thing called hot box, and so I got some of that. And I tried steroids one time.
I remember President Clinton once saying that he didn't inhale either. Still to come, the fallout from Pastor John Paul Miller's blockbuster interview with News Nation. What does Mica Miller's family have to say about all of this backtracking and his erratic behavior? All of this strange stuff on the part of their former son-in-law. Maybe more importantly, what does law enforcement have to say? That's next. Yeah. There's ample reason to sister said to sister
through this trail all the way up here, through this trail all
accept the official conclusion that not everybody agrees. Here's what Mica's sister said to our Rich McHugh back in May.
So over here would be where her remains were found down the river, and then all the way through this trail, all the way up here, where her purse and her phone was found.
And this water is not moving; it's just
Not at all.
stagnant water.
It's not moving at all.
So presumably, how would she?
There's no logical explanation with the.
Just keep it on loop if you could.
The theory of suicide does not add up to me, because you're telling me her body floated all the way down this stagnant water, and her belongings were all the way up here. We had to walk down a separate trail, climb through all this mud and trees and fallen debris to even get to where her body was, down the water. It's not like she could have, left her belongings and walked down the water and then committed suicide down here, and then somehow the bullets and everything stayed over there. There's no
And the gun was found up here.
There's no logical explanation for this.
Next week on our show, Mica's family responds to everything that you heard tonight from Pastor John Paul Miller. And Mica's own words in a phone message to her estranged husband. And it is not what you might think. Be sure to tune. It was Pastor John Paul Miller, the husband of Mica Miller. And that story has just been, it's confounded all of us, frankly, right? We just can't understand how a healthy, beautiful, seemingly happy young woman would just take her life just a few days after serving her husband with divorce. And then we started to see his behavior, and it was really weird. And we waited and tried to get his side of the story. And finally he agreed, and man, did he ever talk on Friday. And the things he said were pretty uncomfortable, especially for her family, because he kind of blamed them for everything. So we called them. And now they're doing a big exclusive interview with us. And tonight you will be seeing that. They respond to everything Pastor J.P. Miller said about his now late estranged wife, Mica Miller. All the things, all the lies, even the ones he copped to and then backtracked on. You will hear all of that in just a moment. Also, Karen Reed, it is official. They're going to retry her. So if you're not busy in early 2025, you too can sit through this whole thing again. Or can you? Because as it turns out, something kind of hinky happened. And her lawyer is making hay of it. Those are not the legal terms, but mark my words, they make sense. There are a couple of dates on the docket right now that will determine if young Karen Read is actually going to have to stand trial 2.0, or if her lawyer really outmaneuvered the prosecutors. Because when I first saw it, I thought it was a screw up. Now I think it's a strategy. I'll tell you all about it in just a minute. And then also late May, we took you to like Manhattan, and the story about this dog named Rocket. Such a cute little thing. His owner tossed him off an 8-story ledge, and he survived. And then that happened, the rescue, the dramatic rescue, the NYPD rushing Rocket to the hospital. And Rocket got surgery and a long road to recovery. And guess what? Rocket has been reunited. You know that we devoted that full hour to the exclusive interview with Pastor John Paul Miller, aggrieved and grieving, the widower of Mica Miller. She took her own life back in April. Legally and officially, Pastor John Paul Miller has not been accused of anything related to Mica's death. Unofficially, he has been the subject of scorn and suspicion, and worse, because of his documented behavior during their troubled marriage and his bizarre behavior after Mica died. We wanted Pastor Miller to share his side of the story, and oh boy, did he ever share. Here's a little taste.
I saw it coming for years. I told them for years this would happen over, and I said if she gets off her medicine, suicide is the next thing. She tried it in the past, but with me, she always remained okay with me. She was on her meds with me. She was healthy and happy. And even if she did get low or stop taking her medicine, I would help her get back on it, and things would be fine. Without me and with her family, she's off meds, and she committed suicide. Am I supposed to stay home and cry? Am I supposed to go out with my friends? Am I supposed to go to a bar and drink? I don't know what the right thing is. Right? As a pastor, should I just get on my knees and pray? I mean, I want to die in that moment. I can neither confirm nor deny that I've ever put on a Spider-Man costume. But you'll never see me in the same room with Spider-Man, I will say that. Oh, I've never done a legal drug my whole life.
Okay.
Well, oh crap, that was a lie. I'm sorry, that was a lie.
I'll be addressing that bit in a minute, like the whole that was a lie, because it wasn't the only one. Mica died by suicide just days after serving him with divorce papers, and there was a lengthy paper trail of his alleged abuses. The GPS tracker that he put on her car, the tires that he allegedly slashed, the topless photo that he apologized, posting that online, topless photo of Mica. But through it all, he told us that he was really just trying to save Mica from herself. He said he warned her family that she would die by suicide since he'd been unable to convince her to continue taking her meds. He said if anybody besides Mica is to blame for her death, he says it's her family. News Nation correspondent Rich McHugh reached out to that family, of course, for their response to all of this. And here's what Mica's sister, Anna Francis, and the family attorney, Regina Ward, had to say about all that.
What was it like watching this interview? How did it make you feel?
At one point, I burst out and started laughing. Like, just straight up started laughing. Because of just how ridiculous half of everything was. And we can prove basically everything he said wasn't true.
What part made you laugh?
Whenever you asked him if he had never, well, the first part that made me laugh was whenever you asked him, has he ever done any drugs? And he said, absolutely not. I would never. And then he goes, oh, I just lied. And then said that he smoked or something, didn't. Sat in a car when he was 16, whatever. And we know that he had done recreation things as a 40-year-old man in his 40s, late 30s. We know that for a fact. So we can prove that he's done it more than once. And then saying he's done steroids just once, tried it once, that's also, we can prove that he's done that more than once as well. And I don't know. It was silly to me that everything he's saying, he's just giving kind of partial truth to.
Well, I think the biggest thing is if you go to the comments that were left, everyone was spot on. Everybody called him out, and it was easy, I think. You don't have to be a professional to detect a lie. And it was obvious, I think, that many things that came out of his mouth were falsehoods or recreations or exaggerations, partial truths with a little something added, partial truths with something missing.
Mica's family says that she once told her sister, quote, "If I end up with a bullet in my head, it was JP." But in Rich McHugh's interview, JP, Pastor John Paul, emphatically denied that he ever abused Mica.
Have you ever abused your wife?
Never, not once in any way, shape, or form. I took better care of her than anybody could ever take care of her. I never asked her to clean the house, not once in 7 years of marriage. She never had to cook a single meal. She never had to work. She was never harmed physically in any way.
But here is what Mica's sister and her attorney say about that.
Well, him just using a simple, he almost wanted to be thanked that she was never forced to clean her house. And he uses those small little things that he might have done that most people would say, oh, I wish I could have a house cleaner or something like that. He uses that as almost like a token. I get to do what I want now today because I didn't make you clean the house today.
Regina, you were working with Mica before she died.
Yes.
What was she telling you? I mean, she called the police about abuse, but tell us what she, if you can, what she was telling you she was going through.
Yeah, I absolutely can. You know, lawyers usually have a duty of confidentiality even to the grave. But I have the permission to speak about those things through Sierra, who's the special administrator over the estate. So she has assumed the shoes of Mica and speaks for her. So she's given me permission to talk about most of those things. Some no. But basically, Mica was telling me a lot of horrendous things that shocked my conscience. And I've been doing this for almost 20 years.
Abuse?
Yes.
What types of abuse?
Every kind that you can imagine, and even kinds that you can't imagine as a normal, rational human being. And to see this absolutely beautiful 20, well, she just turned 30, but she lived all of her 20s with this man. And she had such a beautiful spirit and an aura about her that you immediately knew that you sensed that she had a good heart, was a good woman, and she wanted to just be the best Christian woman there ever was. And she was having such a hard time reconciling between what God's teachings say about forgiveness and to pray for our enemies and so forth. And her duty as a wife, she felt spiritually. She struggled with these things because on one point it's God says that as a wife, I need to be supportive of my husband. I need to be obedient. And I'm trying to do that. And at the same time, God is telling me that I need to forgive someone who's abusing me. So she had a difficult time reconciling, that where am I supposed to forgive my husband for abusing me, for doing these terrible things to me? And like in her video, these terrible, terrible, terrible things.
One question in particular got a big reaction from Pastor John Paul, who again took aim at Mica's family.
Do you feel that you did anything that you would change? Do you feel any part responsible?
God, that's a great question. Man, that's such a good question. Wow, what a good question. Can I have a second to think about it?
Sure.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. What would I do differently? Oh man. I know what I do. I know what I do. I would not involve her family when she's having mental episodes and is schizophrenic and is off her meds. I would never have texted them.
Naturally, Rich McHugh also addressed that moment with Mica's sister and her attorney.
If I'm condensing if I'm condensing what I believe is his central defense, he relies heavily on saying she was on lithium, and when she was on her meds, she was good. And when she was off her meds, she was not good. And her family wanted her off her meds, and therefore I was the only person that was trying to really save her life. He ultimately lays blame on your family for this. What do you would want to say to that?
I would say that we wanted what Mica wanted. She wanted to run a charity and she wanted to go to Africa and do all that. And I said, wow, amazing. Good for you. Like, that's awesome. I'm not as good as person as you, basically. Like, you have great aspirations for your life, everything you do. And if she said, I want to divorce John Paul or I want to get back together, we would just support her, anything she said. So, and again, on like the medicine, I think that's just his only way to kind of control the narrative, is to talk about how mentally ill she was whenever she wasn't mentally ill her whole life. She only had any kind of signs, in his opinion, of being mentally ill since the day they got married. And 3 to 4 months after they got married is when she was first hospitalized. And then it just kept happening, and we were starting to see a pattern. And even through that pattern, I sometimes would speak up, and to the point where John Paul actually served me with a cease and desist letter a few years ago. And also he put a stipulation on me and Mica's relationship and said, you have to write an apology letter to me to be able to talk to your sister. So if anyone was controlling whether Mica was speaking to her family, it was John Paul. Yeah, and I did not do what he said. I did not write an apology letter, because I was putting my beliefs out there. I was stating the truth, and what John Paul can't handle is the truth and what was happening in that situation. So I wasn't allowed to speak to my sister per John Paul for over a year. And then when she went to go leave him, I was able to have a relationship with my sister again.
What does your family want to say about this and their general response to his interview?
So glad you asked that question. Our family wants to have Mica remembered as the amazing person she was throughout all of this. We wouldn't shine any negative light on her, what she did, anything that would control her whole life. We would never even want to speak negatively about John Paul either, because that's not what Christians do either. We let, like, God can take control of this situation. Then we let the law enforcement do what they need to do to protect Mica. The family has a lot of awesome plans for us to pick up where Mica left off in her charity work and everything. We want to continue to be that light towards the world that Mica was. And we don't want her absence to leave a hole or anything. We want to all fill that hole. And that's why we believe so much that Regina is a good person to help us do that, because then Mica's law can be introduced and more people can be helped. As much as John Paul thinks he's one of a kind person, there's tons of men like him, and there's tons of females like him that want to do the same thing to others that he did to Mica. And that's why this Mica's law is so important.
I'm joined now by News Nation investigative correspondent Rich McHugh, who conducted both the interviews with Pastor John Paul Miller and with Mica Miller's family. Rich, great job, especially on like walking the tightrope, because a lot of this you've got to discuss mental health, and it's very sensitive. But I want to just right off the top get your sense about Mica Miller's family. I mean, they're in mourning. They've lost her. She took her own life, and it's been just sort of a devastating series of weeks for them, but they seem very, very laser focused on a mission. Is that the sense that you got from them, that they have a plan?
100%, actually. They have not changed since I've met them, which is since this happened. They are laser focused. They are united. They talk daily as a family. Everything goes through a decision process. They're united front. And they extend that, I believe, to Regina, their attorney. They want to get justice for their sister. They want her story to get out. They're doing this to help other people, so this doesn't happen to other people. but they also just want the truth out. They don't want this kind of hanging over them and her sister's legacy.
So I want to ask you about a couple of things, because you've done two very big interviews in a short period of time in which there was a lot of other breaking news. So forgive me if the audience is sort of catching up on some of this. But when you did the interview and we aired it on Friday with JP Miller, Pastor Miller, I mean, for those who didn't see it, the best way to characterize it is just bizarro. I mean, he seemed to cry at the drop of a hat, and crying seemed to be a central theme of the interview. Do I have that right?
1000%, Ashley. I've done over 2,000 interviews in my career, and this was easily the craziest interview I've ever been a part of. The energy was like, it was like being on a roller coaster. I didn't know where we were going. Like, I would ask him a simple question and all of a sudden it would elicit a response like we just saw. Several times he admitted, like, I asked him a question about, okay, you admitted, in a letter to Mica, you admitted that you'd hired a private eye and you apologized for slashing her tires and et cetera, et cetera. And I said, why did you stop the private eye? Why did you stop? Why didn't you know where she was the day that she died? He said, oh, I stopped because I ran out of money. And so we moved on. And after the interview, he texted me, he said, I'm sorry, I lied. I'm so sorry. That was not the real reason. So this was like an all-day thing. And it was all over the map. He was fidgeting, touching his nose. I was just trying to hang on and make sure I got through my questions so that we got through the whole interview. And we did. We went for over 2 hours. So we got it all.
Well, it was a great interview. I think I was taken aback when right off the top he burst into tears almost before you even asked a question. And actually, I want to play a moment from your most recent interview with Mica Miller's family, and they reacted to all the crying. So let me roll that, and I'm going to ask you about it in a moment. Let's take a look.
Sure. When he started crying, did that feel like that was authentic to you?
As someone who attended Solid Rock for many years, he cried on stage almost every other Sunday. And I would invite friends to come with me because, I believe everyone should hear the word. And my friends would call it out and say, that was the fakest cry I've ever seen. And at first I was almost going to defend John Paul. And then whenever I started seeing it over and over again, and people started pointing out all of his fake cries, then I just became numb to it. And then, obviously stopped going to the church, but he's just kind of known for doing that.
So Rich, ultimately is Mica's family happy that he did do this interview with you? And when I say that, obviously I'm angling here. Do they think they got something out of it, something that they actually might be able to use against him?
I believe they do. I've heard from several of the family members. They thanked me and News Nation for doing this in an extensive way. They said this will help us. I asked Regina, like, what comes of this? Like, what did you see? She said, oh, I plan to introduce this in court. There's a lot of ammunition. We were just provided. We understand, like, this, in her words, the web of lies that he's going to use to try and defend himself in court. So, yes, undoubtedly, they want him to keep speaking. They were surprised that his attorney let him do this interview in the first place.
So I've been in the game for a long time, like a few days.
I just want to pause and say thank you, Lilith, for gifting a membership. Let me see who it went to. Raymondo. No. Raymondo is in the naughty corner. Raymondo, please stop being naughty. CJ was gifted the membership. And then I wanted to show you guys what I've been painting. That's what I've been painting. Hey, Joy. So I'm going to push play on this again. And then after this, actually, no, do you know what? I want to pause this for a sec because there's a very short interview I mentioned that I did that I've got a behavior course thing. This is who wrote it.
Pastor John Paul Miller broke down in tears even before the questions began. And I have a little moment of that I want to play for you and ask you about it right after this. So take a look.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You need a minute?
I'm sorry I can't move the screen. It's for strategic placement.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
What's tripping you up?
Just
My life.
being able to tell. Just being able to talk about everything.
Okay, Scott Rouse, what's your take?
All right. Well, this is sort of the pre-show because it was for the interview to set the mood, so the interviewer can see he's crying and he's upset and he's all those kind of things, right? Now, this may seem odd to when you see this, say, why would he do something like that? However, having watched a couple of these interviews on him, I'm under the impression he has a histrionic personality disorder, and what that would mean is you use your emotions to get attention, so that's what he's doing. It's the perfect example of that. It would seem odd outside of that, but if you talk to a psych person, they will tell you, oh yeah, that's histrionic personality disorder there, because he's setting the mood to say, look, I'm sad, I'm really crying a lot, so let's move on from here as I'm sad. So it's sort of a mood, it's the pre-show sad setup and something like that. It's really common.
I'm going to remember that, histrionic emotional disorder. I think I know some kids with that.
Personality, honey.
Okay, the next thing I wanted to ask you about, there's that crazy video of Pastor Miller rolling around in the grass, squealing like a girl that goes on and on for 10 minutes. And it's really odd. And of course, we wanted to ask him about it. He was claiming that he was covered in ants. He wasn't. And his answer, well, I'll play it and then I'll ask you about it. Take a look at this. Well, there's the video. And then it was odd. It was such an odd video. He was just stuck there at the open door of his car and he never moved the whole time. The neighbor, let's listen into this and then I'm going to ask you about it.
Okay.
I fell out of a tree, a giant magnolia tree. It was like 300 years old. I broke 12 bones. It was 10 to 12 bones. I don't know if you count fingers. Yeah, it doesn't count fingers. Anyway, I have all this metal in my body, and I'd never taken pain meds in my life, and I just had my body cast taken off, and so I took a little bit too much pain meds that day.
Okay, that's a different one, unfortunately. Yeah, so unfortunately that's a different soundbite. He actually made some answers and went into a serious, detail about a magnolia tree and how many fingers and toes, and it was it was very, very detailed when you just want the answer. And I kept wondering, get on with it. Again, Spidey sense saying, you're avoiding us. You're trying to take us on a trip somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what he's doing. This is manipulation. It's a form of manipulation. There are different styles and types when you start manipulating someone. Now, what he's doing here is he's setting up again, like he did earlier, saying, setting the mood. He's setting the mood for his answer, because his answer is not going to be a good answer. So what he says is, I broke a bunch of bones, and what did I break? I break 2 or 3, like he's relaxed and not worried about it. Not like there's something big coming, because the answer he's supposed to be given is an important answer. So at this point, when he's setting up that how it wasn't that big a deal, and he starts talking about this 300-year-old tree and how wonderful that was, that's all just to make things stay calm. So again, he's manipulating the mood there. So you'll see when you hear the answer, which is going to be a big deal, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. It's because he's relaxed. He's not worried about giving that answer at all. So it's subtle, but that's what's going on there. It's very subtle, but that's what's happening there.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I was watching the whole interview, I had you in mind almost like every 30 seconds. Wonder what Scott Rouse would say about this. Wonder what Scott Rouse would say about that. And now I have it. Thank you. I can't wait to have you back. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find news.
in terms of being objective in general, I find News Nation does quite well. But Banfield, I comment on pretty much every video, just like, come on. Objectivity. Okay, I'm going to go back to the other one. But what I wanted to say is I'm going to reach out to Scott. Now my nose is itchy. I'm going to reach out to Scott and see if I can get some kind of like discount code or something, maybe, for that course. I absolutely love them as well. And that the way that they explain things makes it so much easier. Actually, the ones who really got me into the Charlie Adelson trial was their video on it. I had downloaded it for the plane. I can't remember. I think it was Paris to Cape Town when I had COVID. And I only got sick once I was on the plane, like 2/3 of the way home. And I downloaded it and I kept dozing off and then missing parts. So I must have watched it like 3 or 4 times. And by the time I had actually watched the entire thing, I had to know more about the trial. Because I'd been watching him and I had actually been believing the whole situation. Yeah. Anyway. Where was I? Where's this tab? There we go.
A few decades. And I remember one of the first lessons in journalism was that we don't cover suicides. We don't want any copycats. We don't want to draw attention to that.
Oh, so she does remember journalism ethics. I'm glad. She was really, really good. That was mean. I take that back. But I do just wish that she'd stick to how strict she used to be.
In a negative way. And this is a suicide. This is not a murder. John Paul has been charged with nothing. He hasn't been charged with abuse. He hasn't been charged with murder. No one thinks it's a murder in the official category. Unofficially, there's lots of chatter online. My question is, why does this story have such legs? There's something like 1 million people who watched that interview just online as of like this afternoon.
I think, Ashley, it's because there's a phrase that has been coming back to us in the feedback, and it's called coercive control. It's also something that Mica's family is fighting for. They're saying, yeah, it's abuse in their opinion. What she went through was abuse, but it's all under this umbrella of coercive control. And there's millions of people, men and women across the United States, who are in these situations facing coercive control, and they can't get out of it. And so I think that's why so many people this is having an effect on them. And Mica's her family are trying to pass this bill. I think it's called Mica's Law, which is about coercive control. And it would have set off a bunch of it would have tripped some alarm bells in the process, made it easier for her to leave. Whereas right now, like in the way the law currently is, it did not allow her an easy escape. Let's put it that way.
Rich McHugh, such great work. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And by the way, I don't want our audience to leave because, yeah, in a moment, we've got this whole jaw dropping about face by the good pastor. Do you remember the apology letter that he wrote to Mica, the one that was teeming with regret for the way that he treated her? He now says he never meant a word of it. So perhaps it's no surprise that her family calls BS when he says he and Mica were on the road to reconciliation.
Our family does have evidence that the last time they had any interaction was in close proximity with each other. It was the complete opposite of what he's saying it was. They did not kiss. They did not hug. They did not talk about getting back together.
Also ahead, Mica's attorney says there may be evidence to support criminal charges against J.P. Miller. More of this exclusive interview next. At one point in the stormy marriage of Mica Miller and her pastor husband, John Paul Miller, he wrote her a letter apologizing for some of the nastier things that he'd done to her. For one, posting a topless photo of her on the internet, and two, vandalizing her car tires. JP wrote that he was trying to hurt Mica because she had hurt him, admitting that it was, quote, evil of him to do it. But in his exclusive interview with News Nation, he did a 180 on that. He backtracked. Not just on the apologies, but on the implied admissions of guilt as well. Here now is more of our exclusive interview with Mica's sister, Anna, and the family's attorney, Regina Ward. They both say that Pastor Miller's non-apology speaks volumes.
As far as the email and him saying that, you know, we're all referring to it as the apology letter. He's spinning it just like he does with everything. He's been caught, okay, and now it's like, oh, how can I explain away? Because he always explains away everything. You know, there's something else that's motivating whatever is happening. So now that that's come forward, then he's got to say, oh goodness, how do I overcome this? I've just admitted all of these things. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just say that I admitted them because Mica said that she wanted me to.
Our family does have evidence that the last time they had any interaction was in close proximity with each other. It was the complete opposite of what he's saying it was. They did not kiss. They did not hug. They did not talk about getting back together. If asking for that letter, why would he just lie and just say he did all these things to get her back on medication? She had been off of that medication for months.
During the course of that interview, News Nation correspondent Rich McHugh showed Mica's sister and her lawyer video. This one. This is JP and Mica arguing at a car dealership just weeks before Mica's death. And Mica's sister says these are the pastor's true colors, and that the video may actually prove useful if he's ever prosecuted.
It looked like he just got out of bed or something. I don't know. It was apparent that she was being tracked back then because he just showed up out of nowhere without her telling him where she was. And that happened multiple times. He was, again, trying to control, embarrass her. And so she has to call the police and say, I don't want him here. And he just shouts things at her to get a rise out of her, just like he would in his interview. Say things towards the family to try to get a rise out of us. And she rose above that, and so is our family. We're going to rise above the things that he's trying to put out there that are not true.
It absolutely is evidence of abuse. And when Mica brought it to me and gave it to me, I was like, thank goodness that she got that. I wish it would have been longer, but she wasn't expecting him. So when she's trying to fumble around and get it going, and man, the minute that he saw that she got that going, that's when he's turning around to walk away. And I'm so grateful that she did get that, because I feel that without that little sliver of a video, that the world would not get an inside view of John Paul. He is very crafty in spinning his web. He is always spinning the narrative.
Spinning his web. The guy who cosplayed as Spider-Man next to his Wonder Woman wife and who held on to that outfit for random walks around his neighborhood and around his town. But that's not a crime, is it? And the question still remains, will J.P. Miller, Pastor Miller, ever have to answer in criminal court or civil court for any part that he may have played in his wife's death? Mica's family attorney says if she has anything to say about it, yes.
Well, as far as putting someone behind bars, that takes a prosecutor that has to meet those burdens of proof. I think that I have lots of evidence that would certainly support potentially a charge. In Mica's situation, it's not one single event. It's not the one single photo. It's not the one single take in her car. It's not the one single, different things that he did to her. It is all of that put together, and in the totality of the circumstances, that becomes a crime. We can't let this fish go. Or should I say Spider-Man? And I would like to talk about that for a minute. Isn't that appropriate for him? Spider-Man spins webs to navigate through a city or through a town, wherever he's going. That's how he gets through. John Paul Miller is Spider-Man because he's always spinning a web to navigate through life. That's what he does.
Coming up tomorrow, Mica Miller in her own words. We have a voicemail that puts her relationship with her purportedly abusive husband in a vastly different light, one you haven't seen before. Plus JP's propensity to lie. He didn't just lie to a friend or a pastor or his wife. He lied to us. And he actually admitted it in writing. And we have all of the details right here tomorrow. So make sure you don't miss it. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Sorry, because I was basically I chopped the picture that I just painted way too small. So now I was trying to figure out how I can fix that situation. Yeah, I'm really impressed by her family attorney. They are not going to. Can you have Vaughn? He's laughing at this. You're gonna hear him laugh. There's a delay. He's in the other room. I like the attorney, and I really think she's gonna advocate nonstop. I just want to see, because that was 3 days ago. They said they're gonna have something the next day, but I don't see anything new. So in terms of US media that I find is more closely aligned with how we do things here, News Nation, Banfield used to be okay. I just feel she gets a bit sensational and screechy, and she tends to interrupt people way too often in a very serious space and ask questions that didn't have to be asked. Don't ask the family questions that's going to upset them. It's just not, yeah. And then JB Bueno, hey JB, WFLA, he does so well. When I followed Gabby Petito, obviously I followed Gabby Petito all day, every day. When I followed that, I really admired. It was the first time I'd watched WFLA, and I really admired that he was focused on fact-checking rather than breaking the news, because there was so much rubbish going around at that time. I thought that was the plant behind you laughing. No, it's the plant behind the plant. There is another behavior video from News Nation. I can't tell if it's the same one. No, 2 months ago. Oh, I think it might be just a portion. Anyway, shall we wind down with a little bit of court? From down under, it's been almost exactly a year since I was in Old Sydney. It was very cool to experience, but I've never felt quite so broke in my entire life as I did on the South African Rand in Sydney. Right, share this. Put on the captions, make sure that's off. Quality, good. Pop my face in the corner. I'm going to try and look at, but I can't promise anything because it's food time. Hey, Cam. Been a minute.
Come on. Oh, we got Finland.
Look at this.
Wow.
Yeah, just go. Can you sign those first? No,
Hey,
sign them
in here, do you want me to do this first?
That's a lot for her to answer from. It's just, and it's just me.
Ay, pobrecita.
I know.
Oh, Lord. My goodness.
They got me
How many
with this
dismissals
today.
is that? Goodness, that's a lot. You want me to sign them all and then we start arraignments or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God. It's so good.
Were all these in open warrant status? Or-
Yes, basically most of them are.
So does that count against our numbers or no? You know? Is Pavel here today or no?
He is somewhere.
Come on. Did you count how many dismissals, Melissa? Did you count how many dismissals?
There were like 65, but they've been putting more, so I don't know how many more there are.
So over 65 dismissals.
Yes.
Wow.
I'll be making comp time today.
Let's see if we can be the lowest number of cases for any court. Yeah. My goodness. Whoa. Who's the man with the master plan? What's up? Now. Okay, you ready? Let's do it. Coming up, guys. Vic, what?
Martinez,
Okay.
page 11.
Yeah. Are you April Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Martinez, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. You were also charged with failure to give information upon striking a highway fixture. So on that one, you're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present during any questions and interviews with the state of Texas. If you cannot afford a lawyer will be appointed to represent you now. Okay.
Officers were dispatched to a crash call where a vehicle had struck a vehicle in the witness's driveway and pushed it into her house. The suspect vehicle then traveled into the front yard where it was stopped. The driver exited for a few moments and then got back into her car and left the scene. A description of the vehicle and driver was provided to the officer, and the accident was found on surveillance camera. Officers located the suspect vehicle driven by a female matching the description of the driver. The driver was arguing with a man about her car being totaled. The man said that the defendant and a third party had been drinking all day when an argument broke out. The man said he tried to stop the third party from leaving, then got in the car with the defendant, and the defendant stated she never hit anything, despite there being significant front-end damage to her car. She advised she had 2 Long Island iced teas and a couple of shots earlier in the day. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted, 6 of 6 on the HGN, 7 of 8 on the walk and turn, 1 of 4 on the one-leg stand. DIC was read, breath was consented to, and it was a .163 and a .168. The total damage to the house was $1,000 and then $400 to the parked car.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? Do you have valid liability insurance in your name? Okay. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or any kind of dope, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you know if she has any prior to WIs? Have you looked? And then if you can run the license as well.
She does not have
any prior. No.
Her license is eligible.
Great. You have a lawyer. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance, but it's your responsibility to stay in touch with counsel, and he will tell you when you have to come back to court. If he comes back and he tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand, man? For now, we'll have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, you'll get with Tracy for your bond conditions, and after that, you guys are free to go.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, man.
Next is page 19, Gorilla. Ryan, come on up.
Okay. What was the last name of your client? With a V, right?
19.
Thank you. All right, you're Brian Varela. You speak English? I do. Okay, Mr. Varela, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you, sir.
On July 21st, 2024, officers traveling at the posted speed limit of 65 miles per hour in Harris County, Texas, observed a vehicle pass his patrol truck at a high rate of speed. He then observed the vehicle fail to maintain a single lane of traffic and failed to signal 2 lane changes. A traffic stop was conducted, and the officers approached the defendant driver and observed marijuana on the passenger seat. The defendant opened the center console, and the officer observed a baggie containing marijuana. There was a moderate odor of alcohol on the breath, and the defendant stated he had 1 beer. Standard field sobriety test was conducted. HGN was a 4 of 6. Walk and turn was a 4 of 8. And unlike stand was a 2 of 4. CIC was read, breath was refused, and a blood warrant was obtained and blood was drawn.
Mr. Varela, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or dope, you'll go to jail and will not get any more PR bonds. You understand?
Understand.
Does he have any prior DWIs?
No priors.
Do you have a Texas driver license, sir?
Sir,
Do you have valid liability insurance? You're not allowed to drive with either, and I'm making that a condition of your bond. If you're caught driving without a license or insurance, likewise, you will go to jail. You have a lawyer. I will waive your appearance. It's your responsibility to stay in touch with him. If he tells me that you're playing games, I will issue a warrant. You understand?
Sure.
All right. I'll have you go sign a resale with Victoria. You'll get with Jason for your bond conditions after that. You guys are free to go. All right. Thanks, sir. You too. So he has a license.
Oh,
Right. Did you?
it's eligible.
It's all, yeah, he's got a license. Okay, you're good. Thanks, Dan. Hey, ready? So,
Right here.
ready? Okay, please.
Judge, this is Elmer Ramos. Wait, call him.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Do you need to call somebody about it?
I do.
252-0562.
Are you Elmer Ramos? Mr. Ramos, you're charged with driving. I'm sorry, you're charged with reckless driving. You're facing up to 30 days in jail and or a $500 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present during questions and interviews. If you cannot afford a lawyer is going to represent you, sir. Okay.
Of public social media platforms. Officers received information of a takeover occurring at Greens Point Mall parking lot in Harris County, Texas on July 19th, 2024. Officers working in plainclothes capacity observed a large pit consisting of nearly 60 vehicles. The officers observed a vehicle enter the pit and perform a total of 5 donut burnouts. The donuts were done within 15 feet of other vehicles, and plainclothes officers provided a description of the vehicle and location to a marked patrol car, and a traffic stop was conducted. The driver was identified by his U.S. employment authorization card as the defendant, and the defendant admitted to doing the donuts. Officers detected a strong odor of a burnt tire emanating from his rear tire.
Mr. Ramos, how old are you, sir? I go test you for anything. What are you going to test positive for? Nothing. I'm going to test you right now. The other thing I'm going to advise you now, this is your second reckless driving case. You just had one dismissed 2 months ago. I am now taking away your privilege to drive. You are not allowed to drive for any reason. You will be signing an affidavit with me today, promising me you're not going to drive. Someone did this to me yesterday, and I made their bonds $90,000 because they drove in violation of an affidavit. This is a promise you're going to make to me right now that you're not going to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. If you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing an additional 6 months of jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Look at me. Do you understand? You are not in this country with a type of permission that can be easily revoked. It can be easily revoked. And the more cases you pick up, they're going to take your work visa away and you will go back to your country of origin. Is that what you want? Your actions say differently, Mr. Ramos. You will come here. I'm going to have you sign this affidavit promising me that you're not going to drive. After that, I'm sending you for a drug test. You must come back. Otherwise, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand? Okay. Do you want to go? And then I can text you in a bit. I don't know what else you have. You can always zoom in. I just want to know what, if anything, he's going to test positive for. And then I understand. We'll talk at that point if it is, but I'm not going to put him in jail now. But I want to know what, if anything, and then after that, we'll have a discussion about what. Yeah. Or if you want, you can go, and then you can always zoom in, and then I can text you. I have your number, so I can text you when he gets back. Yeah? All right.
Judge case 1, Almendarez, Raul.
Are you Raul Almendarez?
Yes, sir.
You are charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. You were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. It's also a Class A because it's a second offense. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On July 20th, 2024, at approximately 2 a.m., officers conducted a traffic stop after observing a suspect vehicle going 56 miles per hour in a 45, swerving and failing to maintain a single lane. Officers ID'd the defendant by his Mexican consular card and Mexican passport as the driver. Officers observed a strong odor of alcohol emanating from the defendant's person, slurred speech, red glossy eyes, and a 16-ounce Bud Light behind the driver's seat on the floorboard. The defendant said that he had a 6-pack of Bud Light and then 2 more Bud Lights. Standard field sobriety test was conducted. HGN was a 6 of 6, walk and turn was a 4 of 8, and the 1 leg stand was refused. DIC was read, breath was consented to, and was a 0.194 and a 0.18.
Mr. Almendrez, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Tell me, are you a United States citizen?
That's it. He's not.
Are you in this country with or without permission? Jesse. Jesse, I want to hear from him. You're not in this country with or without permission. What is it?
Está en el país con o sin permiso, ¿cuál es?
Si tienes documentos para estar aquí, señor. Dile no.
No.
What happens if you...
¿Qué tipo tienes?
Mr. Almendrez, ¿estás aquí con o sin permiso en este país?
No, no tengo permiso.
¿Qué te pasa si tú vas a la cárcel?
No sé. I don't know.
Think. Don't tell him, Jesse. I want him to think about it. What happens if you go to jail?
Si usted va a la cárcel. No sé. I don't know.
Are you in this country with or without permission?
¿Está usted en el país con o sin permiso? Sin permiso. Without permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
Si usted va a la cárcel. ¿no? I'll get locked up. I'll get locked up, right?
Correct. Who will be on the lookout for you while you're in jail?
Estaría buscando mientras está en la cárcel. Son familiares. Family members.
Mr. Almendrez, every single day, immigration sweeps the jail looking for people who are there without permission. And if they find you, they will put a detainer on you. You will remain in custody until immigration is done with you, which is usually about a 6 to 9 month wait. You will sit in custody first until this case is over, and then until immigration is done with you. And if you're not in this country, they will end up probably deporting you, but you will sit in custody waiting for all that time. Do you understand what happens if you go to jail?
¿Qué sucede si usted va a la cárcel? Yes.
What happens if you go to jail?
¿Qué pasa si usted va a la cárcel? No sé, quiero decir, no sé. I don't know what I want to say. I don't know.
Did you hear anything I just told you?
¿Yo lo que le acabo de decir? I heard, but I don't know.
Si tú vas a la cárcel, inmigración te va a poner una detención. Tú te quedes ahí por como 6 a 9 meses, esperando que va a pasar con inmigración. ¿Me entiendes, Méndez? ¿Sí o no?
Sí.
So, ¿qué pasa si tú vas a la cárcel?
I'll get locked up, right?
Mira, tienes chance que te pueden deportar, señor, que te llevan a su país. ¿Entiendes eso? Si rompes las restricciones de la fianza, entonces si hay una chance que este güey te va a llevar. Si le hay, la inmigración te va a llevar. Lo que sabes, ¿entiendes lo que está pasando? No debes de manejar, ¿ya entiendes? Porque sí, ¿verdad?
Mr. Almendarez, I am ordering you not to drive. Do you understand?
¿Entiende? Yes.
What did I just say?
¿Qué le acabo de decir?
Que no debo manejar.
That I won't be able to drive. I can't drive.
You are not allowed to consume alcohol
Consumir alcohol.
or illegal drugs. Because it is a second offense, I'm going to put an ankle monitor on you so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. I cannot trust, if you don't even get what I'm trying to tell you about immigration, then I can't trust you to do things on your own.
Yeah,
And I will put a monitor on your ankle so I know that you're not consuming alcohol.
sepa de que usted no está consumiendo
The
alcohol.
worst possible thing you can do in this short life we have is get in a car and drive. Because if you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. You will be facing an additional 6 months in jail. And I will tell you that if you even do 2 days in jail, immigration will find you. They will put a detainer. And if you can't understand this simple fact, then you need to sit down with Jesse and have a very long and slow. You need to listen. If you can't understand what I'm telling you, then you need to have a very long and slow conversation with Jesse so that you get it. But
I won't drive.
No voy a manejar.
Drive.
I don't
I won't drive.
I don't care what your excuse is. Do not drink alcohol. Do not use anything that has alcohol in it, and do not drive. I am giving you 3 days to get this device, and I will pay for it for you so that there are no excuses. If you consume alcohol, I will put you in jail so fast, your head is going to be spinning about 50 miles an hour. For now, I will have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. You will get to Victoria so you can sign a reset. And after that, you'll get with Tracy for your bond conditions. Jesse.
Yes.
Bless you, man. Good luck.
All right, Judge, the next Spanish arraignment is page 1. Bottom of page 1,
Okay.
Arvalo.
Do we know if Mr. Newley's coming here today? Yeah. Tell me, Amaya's back there? Victoria? Fugitive case? Oh my gosh, she picked up a new case. Are you Jose Eduardo Mireles Arevalo? Sir, you're charged with assault of a family member. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. Hey there, Dennis. Let me see you walk in.
Oh, yeah, I just sit there in the back. Good to see you, Judge. On July 19, 2024, officers responded to an assault call. Complaining witness was driving because the defendant was intoxicated. Defendant and complaining witness were running errands. When they were arguing, defendant began to pull the complaining witness's hair and punch her arm while she was driving. The complaining witness stated she felt pain and attempted to block some of the defendant's punches, but was unsuccessful. In an attempt to get defendant to stop hitting her, complaining witness faked as though she was calling the police. The defendant responded to this by attempting to jump out of the vehicle while they were still on the main lanes of US 290. Complaining witness pulled over on the shoulder to prevent the defendant from getting fatally struck by passing vehicles. The defendant then exited the vehicle and ran away. The complaining witness was able to locate the defendant due to seeing an ambulance drive past her. So she followed the ambulance to the restaurant parking lot. Complaining witness denied defendant's claims that she assaulted or pulled the gun out on defendant and reiterated it was she who had been assaulted. In regard to defendant's injured ribs, complaining witness states defendant injured himself at work. Officers observed the complaining witness to have purple and black bruising on her right arm.
So he's not driving, right? She was driving.
She was driving. The complaining witness is the wife of the defendant as well.
You said, yeah, I think in the report you said that she's driving drunk.
No, he was driving because she was driving because he was drunk. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Arabalo, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. Tell me, did she always drive because that he was drinking or drunk?
I'm not sure about that, Judge, but I did talk to her this morning. She did tell me that he was intoxicated at the time and she was driving because of that. She didn't.
You know, at the outset, let me tell you that I'm very happy that you weren't behind the wheel. I know that this is an assault case and it's not good, but I'm happy. I'm really happy that you weren't behind the wheel. You have 2 prior DWIs. If you would have been behind the wheel, you would be charged with a 3rd-degree felony and you're looking at up to 10 years in prison. So if you even have a sip of alcohol, you should not get behind the wheel because you're facing a lot more time, right? Here, it's an assault, but I'm telling you that I'm happy that you're not behind the wheel. So that's good. It's not good that you have this assault, but we'll get that at some point. Do we know what she wants? Does she want to have contact with him? Does she not want to have contact?
No contact and address restriction.
So she does want that.
Yes, she wants no contact. On the protective order, it says no threatening, harassing.
Okay. So, Mr. Arabalo, it looks like a protective order was issued about 6 days ago. Get to know it. Read it, understand it, because if you violate that protective order, the state can and will file a violation of a protective order against you. And then you're really up the creek. It's one of the worst cases you can pick up. I don't know what your immigration status is, but if you're not in this country with permission and you go to jail, immigration will put a detainer on you. So be very careful. As part of your bond conditions, I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. And I don't know if I should put a device on this dude, you know? He just pled to a DWI not, 6-7 months ago. A second one. I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with the complaining witness in this case and not to be in possession of your weapons. Mr. Arevalo, I really, really value public safety. And I'm going to do everything in my power to protect every single person. And if that means putting you in jail at a $50,000 bond, I will do it in a heartbeat. So, don't violate these conditions. I'm not asking much. Don't consume alcohol. Don't use anything with alcohol in it. No drugs and no contact. As long as you can do these things, you and I will be fine. You understand? All right. I see that you have a lawyer. Just stay in touch with Mr. Newley and he will tell you when you have to come back to court. If Mr. Newley tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, I will issue a warrant. For now, I will have you get with Victoria. We'll have you sign a reset. After that, you'll get with Tracy for your bond conditions. And after that, we'll have you just wait in the back for your lawyer. All right? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, David. Got it. Okay. Bye. You not have enough, Vic? I got it. Okay.
All right, Judge, the next Spanish one is page 2, Armendariz Grimaldo.
What did you say? Okay. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. Okay.
Officers conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle for going 55 in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. The defendant was ID'd as the driver by his Mexican consular card. Officers observed swaying, bloodshot red glossy eyes, and slurred speech. The defendant admitted to drinking 2 beers. The defendant refused to conduct standard field sobriety testing, and DIC was read. Breath was consented to, and it was a .133 and a .126.
Any prior DWIs?
No criminal history, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Amenderes, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license?
No.
I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to drive. You will be signing a promise with me that you're not going to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. If you drive, you will go to jail. If you're not in this country with permission, immigration will put a detainer on you. You will be stuck in jail until this case is over with, and then until immigration is done with you, which is about 6 to 9 months. If you don't want that to happen, follow these conditions. This is the only warning you will get from me. Take it as you will. Do not consume alcohol. You will be randomly tested. Do not pick up any new cases. And above all else, do not drive. Do you understand?
Yes.
I will have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. After that, I'll get you to Victoria. We're going to have you sign a reset. We will get you out of here to hire a lawyer. After that, you will get with Tracy for your bond conditions. Remember, no alcohol, no drugs, do not drive. Otherwise, you're assured a lengthy jail sentence. Come on, and we'll see you in a month with a lawyer.
The next one, Judge, is page 3, bottom of page 3.
Okay.
I'll let you say that.
Is it Cal Suk? Vicente Cal Suk.
It is a replay, and no, it's not illegal. In fact, the judge might pop in as well.
Good morning, sir. Sir, you are charged with driving while intoxicated. You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Bless you. You have the right to have an attorney present during questions and interviews with the state of Texas. If you cannot afford a lawyer will be appointed to represent you, sir.
On July 21st, 2024, at approximately 2:30 a.m., officers observed a vehicle with no headlights on and attempted to conduct a traffic stop. The vehicle did not immediately come to a stop, but instead turned right, then activated its hazard lights and almost hit a set of trash cans, swerved left and right, and eventually pulled into a driveway. Officers observed the defendant in the driver's seat with a passenger. The defendant said he was taking the passenger home from a family gathering and said he did not have anything to drink. When asked to step out, the defendant stumbled and needed the vehicle for balance and had a heavy side-to-side sway and could not walk in a straight line. Officers observed slurred speech, a strong odor of alcohol on the breath, bloodshot, wet eyes, eyelids were droopy, pupils were dilated, and he had heavy, sluggish feet.
You say heavy, sluggish feet? Okay.
The defendant then admitted to drinking Modelo's. Standard field sobriety test was conducted. HGN was a 606. Walk and turn and one leg stand could not be completed. DIC was read. Blood pressure was in the DRE range, or the blood measure was in the DRE range, but his pulse was 106 BPM. So a blood warrant was executed and a blood sample was taken.
So did they do a DRE or no?
Judge, it appears they have because they're listing the DRE.
Okay.
So we'll get the discovery.
Is there no breath test?
No.
So they just did a,
They went straight to blood. Because they're suspecting that it could be.
yeah. Mr. Kalsuk, or can you look up to see is any other prior criminal contact? Okay. Mr. Kalsuk, I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to drive. I find that there is enough probable cause to go forward with your case. Are you in this country with or without permission, sir? What type of permission do you have?
A permanent resident?
Do you have a Texas driver license?
Yes.
Can you run his license, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have liability insurance in your name?
No, but I don't have it with me. I mean, yes, but I don't have it with me.
Before I allow you to drive, I want proof that you have liability insurance in your name. Until that point, I'm ordering you not to drive. I want proof. If you can get me proof today to show me that you have liability insurance, I will allow you to drive. Until that point, I'm ordering you not to drive. Great.
Yeah, I have to go get the copy of it from my
Welcome
car.
to, I mean, if you have it on your phone or however other way, you can get it to me. As I just want to verify that you have liability insurance and then I'm okay with you driving. Beware, I am ordering you not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs. I am going to randomly test you. If I find that you consume alcohol or any kind of dope, I will put you in jail. Do you understand? How old are you? If I test you for dope right now, what's going to test positive for?
Negative.
What do you do for a living, sir?
¿Qué hace para trabajar? Trabajo en una compañía de landscaping. A landscaping company?
We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. If you have any issues, come back to me and we can talk about a court-appointed lawyer. Do not drive until you get approval from us. I'm warning you. Also, do not consume alcohol or dope. Do you understand? All right. I will have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive until you get court approval. I will get you to Victoria. We're going to have you sign a reset. After that, you'll get with Tracy for your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go, sir.
All right, Judge, page 4, Canales, come on up.
So Spanish?
252-0831.
Awesome, thank you.
Take a seat for me at the jury box. You're not allowed to leave. Counsel.
Mark was here yesterday.
Correct.
Wasn't sure why he needed to.
It's probably because it just came up again on the docket because we put the bond at 5,000. That's why.
Okay, so we can just get a reset for it.
Yeah, it's Lopez, remember?
Yes.
So-
So. Arraignment, so I just told him to.
Yeah, we'll set it off to whatever day you guys want.
Perfect. Thank you, Judge.
For sure.
Canales is in the box.
Yeah.
Page 4, Carrillo, come on up. Council,
Okay, that's fine.
First.
And another case, Mr. Carrillo. You now stand charged with burglary of a motor vehicle. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
On July 19th, 2024, officers were dispatched to a burglary of a motor.
Okay, apparently people are in a mood tonight. Please don't make comments about race, religion, gender, etc. Let's keep it light. It's a Friday. We don't want those comments. We don't want any hints of those comments. Next, Sean, you need to pipe down. I'm a mod in his chat. He hangs out here. We're all good. Absolutely super chilled. In fact, if you're not sure, there is literally a video. In fact, give me a second. Let's clear this up once and for all. Let me show you this. Because apparently this is really paining you so much that there has to be multiple comments. Right. Let me just open this in a new tab. Okay.
Hey.
What?
Little bunnies
No.
jumping. Yes.
I'm kidding.
Oh, that's cute. Hey, Jasmine.
I'm also not part of LawTube. I don't want to be put in the same banner. At this point, the judge is
I
searching
guess
for my name in
Vicky's gone.
chat.
She was helping today with a, she was helping.
Okay, listen properly.
I guess Vicky's gone. She was helping today with a wrench.
Who's Vicky?
Vicky.
I saw
McCallum.
that, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I think she has a channel that she does streaming as well.
Oh, nice.
You know,
Cool.
and
It's always cool to have like a YouTuber do it because they
yeah,
know.
she has, I guess, a channel, and she's from South Africa.
Kathy says she stole Skittles.
Okay, are you happy now? Because the judge hangs out in this chat, comments in this chat, is well aware. In fact, he has notifications turned on for my lives so that he knows when I'm up and comes and hangs out and watches with us. So if you're not entirely convinced, what I'll do next time is I'll ask him to say in chat, hey, Sean, I am totally okay with Vicky streaming this on her stream and watching the cat stuff. Cool? Let's get back to Friday stuff. Let's be happy. Let's be kind. Let's not put anything that's going to upset anyone. And most of all, the mods are the boss. If they remove your message or if they time you out, that basically means that that's strike one. Strike two, I'm going to call you out. And people generally don't enjoy when I do that. Sorry.
Officers were informed of multiple subjects attempting to break into a white Hummer in the parking lot. The officers began to walk towards where the vehicle was located and saw two individuals inside the Hummer and saw the defendant by the Hummer. The two subjects then got into a blue truck while the defendant attempted to get inside the truck. The defendant was screaming at the individuals in the truck to let him in. The vehicle fled the scene and the defendant was left behind on the scene.
Quite the crew.
A witness saw all three individuals in the Hummer and was able to describe the defendant's clothing and confirm the defendant was in fact inside the Hummer. The complaining witness stated upon checking his vehicle, he saw his back door window had been broken, his front passenger door keyhole was damaged, and his steering column was damaged. The complaining witness noticed his Colt 45 1911 firearm was missing from his holster. The complainant said nothing else was taken from his Hummer.
Can't believe it. In this day and age, people still leave their guns in their car. Okay.
That's it. Yes, Your Honor.
So do we have the co-defendants? Do we know? So you said there were a total of 4 co-defendants, right?
Well, with him, it's
so
3.
2 left.
3, 2 left.
Nice. Mr. Carrillo, I'm going to find probable cause to go forward with the case. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm sending you for a drug test right now. I want you to go down, take a drug test, and then I want you to come back. If you fail to come back to me, I'm going to set your bond at $30,000 to $50,000. Do you understand? You will not get any more PR bonds. I will deem you a public danger because this is your 5th to 6th case within the last, I don't know, year and a half. Do you understand? All right, Tracy, if you can send him down, please. Take a seat with me.
All right, so next is page 5. Check on. Angel, come on up.
On check on?
Page 5.
Okay, Mr. Chacon, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you. Okay.
On October 14th, 2022, at approximately 17:54 hours, officers were dispatched to a major crash in Harris County, Texas. Officers met with the defendant and observed red bloodshot eyes, and the defendant admitted to being the driver of the vehicle and said he lost control of the vehicle while making a turn. The defendant consented to standard field sobriety test. HGN was a 6 of 6, walk and turn was a 1 of 8, and he was unable to balance during instruction phase. The one leg stand was a 2 of 4. DIC was red and breath was consented to. He blew a .00 both times. DIC was red again. The defendant consented to blood and a 2B warrant was filed. The defendant was released pending his toxicology results. And then on June 13th, 2023, the results were received for the defendant. No ethanol was present. However, the defendant's blood tested positive for
Alprazolam.
Or Xanax in the amount of 14 nanograms per milliliter. 14 plus or minus 2 nanograms per milliliter.
Got it. Mr. Chacon, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? Can you run his license, please? Any prior DWIs?
I don't know.
There's no criminal history.
No? All right. Mr. Chacon, I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. If I find that you're using anything, I will put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand? Are you high right now? Don't use unless you have a valid prescription and follow the prescription if you have one. If I find that you're using anything, Xanax, any kind of pills, any alcohol, I will put you in jail. I will revoke your bond and make it very high. Do you understand? Okay, if you have a problem with drugs or alcohol, you better address it, because if you don't, I'm going to do it for you, and I promise you're not going to like the way that I do it. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance, but it's your responsibility to stay in touch with Mr. DeLeaf, and he will tell you when you have to come back to court. If Peter tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, I will issue a warrant. You understand? No alcohol, no dope. Do not drive unless you have a license and insurance, and stay in touch with Peter. I'll have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, you'll get retraced your bond conditions, and then you're free to go, sir. Please.
Page 8, Garcia.
Well, hold on. Vic, I have a lawyer here online that has an arraignment too.
What's the last name?
It's Robles.
Morning, Judge.
Alfredo Robles. Hey, Mo.
How are you, sir?
Robles, come on up.
Oh, thank you so much. Good job. Can you hear me? Or can
Yes,
I?
I can.
There we
Yes, I
go.
can.
Okay, we got you.
So you're busy on this Friday.
Business is good, unfortunately. A lot of repeat offenders.
Judge, this is a UCW arising out of a DWI third. He's already been arraigned on that, has bond conditions in that felony court.
Okay. We're going to do probable cause. You now stand charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. Like I said, we're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. So you know your lawyer is here with you, but on Zoom, just not in person. Okay? All right.
On July 20th, 2024, at 1:57 a.m., officers conducted a traffic stop on a car for having no taillights. Officers observed a strong odor of alcohol on the breath, bloodshot, glossy eyes, and slurred speech. The defendant said he had 2 drinks at Ojos Locos, and the defendant admitted to having a gun in the center console. Standard field sobriety test was conducted, 6 of 6 on the HGN, 5 of 8 on the walk and turn, and 2 of 4 on the one-leg stand. The defendant had 2 prior DWIs from 2017 and 2016, and the Taurus handgun not in the holster was recovered. The IC was read, search warrant was drafted, and blood was taken.
Got it.
He's got an interlocks, Judge.
So he already has the interlock as it.
He does, Your Honor.
What other conditions did the judge do? Anything else?
I believe just an interlock, Judge, and just standard bond conditions, no drugs, no alcohol.
All right, I'm going to order you, Mr. Robles, not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. We're going to randomly test you. If we find that you consume alcohol or any kind of dope, your bond will be revoked. You will go to jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand? You have a lawyer. It's your responsibility to stay in touch with Mo, and he will tell you when you have to come back to court. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. Just stay in touch with him. Do not pick up any new cases. Don't consume. You understand? You want the same day, Mo?
Oh, that'd be great, Your Honor.
For sure. 8/26. All right. We will have you sign a reset now. I'll have you get retraced your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. All right? Please.
Thanks, Judge. Have a great weekend, sir.
Thanks, Mo. You too. Take care.
All right, Judge. Garcia, Samuel, page 8.
Hey, I have, after this one, I have one more lawyer online, Hayslip.
Go ahead and sign. Okay.
What was your last name?
Jim, Simon.
Page 8.
Got it. Thanks. All right, Mr. Garcia, you're charged with possession of marijuana. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
On July 19th, 2024, officers conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle for running a red light. Officers observed the driver to be the defendant and observed a strong odor of marijuana. A probable cause search turned up 100 Ziploc bags, a scale, and a large bag containing 0.91 ounces of marijuana. A 100 count box of Ziploc bags, a scale, and the marijuana.
And you said that, right? Didn't you have it on the thing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Mr. Garcia, I'm going to find that there's probable cause. Do you have a valid Texas driver license?
Yes, I do.
Can you run your license, please? I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to sling anymore. If I find that you do it, or if I find that you're consuming, I will put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. You understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
No more. Got it. Do you have liability insurance in your name?
Yes.
I want proof. I'm not going to take your word for it. If you show me that you have liability insurance, then I will allow you to drive.
I'm not under my own insurance, but I'm under my dad's policy.
I want to see if you can show me that you have insurance that has your name on it with the policy with the car that you're driving, then I'll happily allow you to drive, but I'm not going to take your word for it. Do you understand? At this point, I'm going to order you not to drive until you show it to us.
Sure.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
What are you doing with life right now?
Just trying to support my family.
Did you graduate from high school?
No.
There's your first mistake, and we're going to start working on that now. I will give you a lawyer today. The first thing we're going to do is start working on getting your GED. So I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond to do that now. I'm going to give you 2 weeks, and I want to see what you've done to start getting on your GED classes. If you've not done anything, life's not going to go well for you. Do you understand?
Sure.
You can't be rolling around life without the minimum a high school diploma, dude.
No, I'm working.
Working what? Working on slinging. Mr. Garcia, I don't want to fight with you. The only thing I want to do is ensure that you have some kind of future. Because if you don't, this life really, really sucks without money. You can't live without money. You can't do anything without money. And at the minimum, if you don't have a high school diploma, you'll go nowhere. And at some point, if you continue to sling, it's going to catch up with you and you'll just end up in prison or 25 to life. I mean, look, you already have what? These two. Your record's not good, dude. Do you understand?
Sure.
One more thing I'm going to apprise you. 31 days from today, I will drug test you again. If I find that you're consuming any kind of dope, I'm going to put you in jail. If you stop smoking as of today, you should be fine 31, 32, 33 days. But if I test you again and you test positive for dope, I'm going to keep you with you. Do you understand?
Sure.
Okay. Do you mind giving him an application, please? I'm going to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I'm going to get you the Victoria sign and reset, and then we'll have you take your seat in the jury box.
Page 9 is payslip. Payslip, come on up. Were there states on commission?
No, this can be with Tracy. Good morning, Ms. Hayslip. Ma'am, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present during questions and interviews. If you cannot afford a lawyer will be appointed to represent you. Your lawyer is here now. She's on Zoom so that you know you're not alone. I don't know what the TVs work one day, they're off the next. It's not. I don't know what to do. So just know that you're not here alone. Okay.
On July 20th, 2024, at approximately 12:40 a.m., officers conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle that was blocking the exit ramp. The driver was ID'd as the defendant, and officers observed a strong odor of alcohol on the breath, heavy, thick, slow, slurred speech, drooping eyelids, glossy, red bloodshot eyes, and the defendant appeared disoriented. Officers asked the defendant if she had consumed any alcohol beverages that night. She said that she had not, but there was light in the center cup.
An open container as she's driving.
When the defendant stepped out of the car, she was unsteady on her feet and had a staggering walk while being escorted to the patrol vehicle. The defendant refused to put her hands behind her back and started kicking officers in the chest and right shoulder area. Officers felt pain. Standard field sobriety test was refused. DIC was read. Breath was refused. And a search warrant was drafted and executed, and blood was drawn.
Man, you're lucky that you're not charged with number one, assault of a peace officer. Number two, anytime you have alcohol in the car in your immediate possession, it's a minimum of 5 days in jail to any type of punishment you get. It is further presented that at the time the defendant committed the offense of operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated as heretofore alleged committed on or about July 21, 2024, she had an open container of an alcoholic beverage in her immediate possession in the passenger compartment of said motor vehicle. Minimum 5 days in jail. I would hope that it's damn elementary. You know, I am finding probable cause and I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using anything at all, I will put you in jail, man.
Your Honor, she also has another DWI out of Ellis County from June of.
Open right now.
She was convicted June 28th, 2020.
I don't believe there's a conviction, counselor.
No.
Is it currently open now, Ms. Lyles?
No, it's not. I believe it was dismissed.
No, it was never, the case was never filed.
The DWI was dismissed, Your Honor, for without a pretrial diversion program on July 2nd, 2024. Oh, her driver's license is.
So she just had one that was dismissed.
It shows
never filed. The case was never filed.
Ma'am, stop.
It shows that the charge was rejected, Your Honor. I don't know I don't know.
Can you run her full NCIC so we can see what other?
Yeah, right now, Your Honor. However, she was convicted of a resisting arrest on 6/28/2024. It looks like that was a time served.
What was that?
Ellis County.
In the same thing? Is it a different offense date?
It's the same transaction, Your Honor.
I have to presume that alcohol was probably a factor in that one as well. I mean, I don't know for sure, but.
There was also an ALRS suspension from that transaction, Your Honor.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, ma'am, I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond, not to, well, like I said, not to consume, and I'm ordering you to obtain an interlock device. You're not allowed to drive any vehicle that is not equipped with an ignition interlock. If I find that you drive that car that doesn't have an interlock, I will put you in jail. No more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
I apologize, Your Honor.
That's okay.
Ms. Hayslip currently doesn't have a vehicle. The vehicle that the interaction with law enforcement here, it was broken down and she is not getting that fixed.
Okay, so we will give her a portable device.
Okay.
And then she will have to sign an affidavit promising us she's not going to drive. Okay?
Okay.
You were not allowed to drive at all. If you want to drive, you must get permission first. You will be signing an affidavit with me, promising me you're not going to drive. Ms. Hayslip, I don't care what's going on in your life. You cannot justify driving one iota. And if I find that you do in violation of this affidavit, you'll be facing a contempt hearing, up to 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. I had one yesterday. He's sitting in custody at a $90,000 bond, waiting to have a contempt hearing. Do you understand? When I mean no driving, I don't care. You borrow someone. If Jesus comes down and needs a ride, Jesus, take the wheel. I don't care. Do you understand? Does she have, can you see if she has a valid license?
It's suspended.
Right, so you can't drive anyways. You don't have a license. So you will be signing this affidavit with me today. Ma'am, you know, there are people who drink in this life. When they drink, they become very happy people, right? And then there's some, when they drink, they turn into combative, just complete a-holes, you know?
I know.
I don't know what kind you are, but all I know is that I don't want to find out. And don't, above all else, because if you do, you're going to go to jail. And I'm going to tell you now, it's not fun.
I
You
know.
understand? Right. Because I will do everything in my power to protect the public from every single person. And if that means making your bond 150,000, I'm going to do it in a heartbeat. You understand? You have a lawyer. All you have to do is listen to her. She'll take care of you. If you have a problem with alcohol or dope, address it. Because if you don't, I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. That I'll get you to Victoria. Hold up. I'm not done. I will have you sign this affidavit. After that, I'll have you sign a reset. After that, you'll get trace for your bond conditions and then you'll be free to go. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance. You don't have to waste your time coming to court, but it's your responsibility to stay in touch with her. If she comes back to me and tells me she can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, I will issue a warrant. All right? Okay, man. Good luck.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
No, we need to get a date from you, Miss Lyles. Hold on. Can you
Yes,
file,
sir.
but can you file the guardian? Okay. What do you say?
September 24th through the 26th.
Did you hear that? September 24th to the 26th for a reset date.
Let me look very briefly. I apologize. September. How about September 24th, please?
Sure. Okay, it's yours and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Judge. Have a good one.
Yes, ma'am. Take care.
All right, Judge, page 10, Leah. Come on up. Let me come up the back. Do you need an interpreter?
Are you Branyar Leah? Mr. Leah, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. So you're okay? You don't need an interpreter? You understand? You're good? Right.
On July 20th, 2024 at 3:35 a.m., officers conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle who was driving 10 to 15 miles an hour on Taylor Street, turned left on I-10 feeder road from a straight only lane, and began to enter the main lanes of I-10, still traveling slowly and impeding traffic. Officers made contact with the driver, who was the sole occupant. Officers observed a strong odor of alcohol on the breath, glossy bloodshot eyes, and the defendant was swaying. The defendant admitted to drinking 5 or 6 Modelo's at an unknown bar and was headed back to Humble. Standard field sobriety test was conducted, 6 of 6 on the HGN, 7 of 8 on the walk and turn, 3 of 4 on the one leg stand. DIC was read, breath was a 0.186 and a 0.204.
Big differential. Any prior DWIs?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Lay, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. Tell me, are you a United States citizen?
The TPS.
Okay. And it's still valid. The TPS is still valid. Is it still valid? Understand.
Yeah, I understand.
No, well, I'm telling you, understand, the more cases you pick up, they can take that TPS away from you. The temporary protective status can always be revoked. It's not a permanent thing. Do you understand? So I would be very careful. Not only that, if you go to jail and immigration doesn't see it, you're going to be sitting in there for a long time. I would be very, very careful. Do you have a Texas driver license? Do you have insurance? I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol, I will put you in jail. You understand?
Okay.
So you said you're how old? 24?
28.
28. What do you do for a living?
Huh?
What do you do? Do you work?
I work in Houston Garden Center.
Where?
Houston Garden Center.
How much money do you make a month? Wow, that's great. Okay, we are going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. I would do it quick because there's a lot of timing with your driver's license. You understand? So don't wait a month or two. You're only hurting yourself. I will have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, you'll get retraced for your bond condition and then you'll be free to go. Come back. If you do not come back, I will issue a warrant. Don't drink alcohol or use drugs. Otherwise, I will issue a warrant. You understand? Okay, please.
All right, Judge, page 12, Matthews, come on up.
Are you Tariq Matthews? Mr. Matthews, you're charged with violation of a protective order. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. So, where'd she go? Hey, Pavel. So we're talking about Matthews here. We have him on a VPO. Looks like it was filed in 2022, and it looks like it was a 2B. So I don't know if he knew about it or not. All I know is that he has now a new violation of protective order.
Yes.
As a felony, right? What happened? Was it out of the 280th domestic violence court? Because we never did. So tell me about it, because I don't know. Please. And what happened in the felony case? Please.
I mean, the felony alleged hours. So 10/29/22, officers were dispatched to 17033 Bug Creek Road in Harris County, Texas. Complaint reported that the defendant, father of her child, came to the residence to drop their daughter off. Complaint told officers that the defendant knows he's not supposed to do that. Defendant told complainant he didn't care and said, "I'm done sparring with you. You might want to stay away. I'm going to violate the fuck out of you." There is a protective order out of the 280th which prohibits the defendant from coming within 200 feet of that location. On April 4th, 23, complainant reported that the defendant was sending her threats via text message. Complainant told the defendant multiple times that he was not to contact her other than through a court-ordered app regarding the daughter. Defendant ignored this, writing on April 2, 2023, "I'm popping shit at you." Complainant told him to stop texting her 4 times that day. After that, and the defendant regarded each time he has no prior. So we approached.
So we've done this before,
Yeah,
right?
we've done PC on this one. He has.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know why. We're
Yeah.
back.
Do you have a lawyer?
No, not anymore.
I have here that you have Charles Nesmith, who filed an attorney of record on July 18th.
Yes, we parted ways.
No, you haven't.
I'm not sure. I'm not very educated on how any of this works, honestly. So this is my first time.
I don't even see emotional. Oh, now I do. So let's do this. I'm gonna have you take a seat and I'm gonna reach out to the lawyer here momentarily because he needs to be here. So just take a seat from in the jury box.
Page 12, Mobley, come on up.
It was like it did sound familiar.
Yeah, it's something familiar as I was reading it.
The Antoine Mobley.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mobley, you're charged with burglary of a motor vehicle. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you can other forward. One will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
Officers were dispatched to 2542 Spence Park in Spring. The call note stated that a man wearing all black was inside a vehicle. Witness ran after the defendant who ran away, and officers on the scene in a canine unit spotted the defendant, and the defendant was detained 26 yards away from the home where the vehicle was. The defendant stated it was his first time breaking and entering a vehicle. The defendant had possession of the complaining witness's credit cards and health insurance cards.
You take anything else? Damage to the car?
The credit cards and her health.
What kind of priors? Do you see anything else? Mr. Mobley, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. How old are you?
17, sorry.
You're 17.
Yes, sir.
What are you doing with your life?
Go to school, play football, and
If I go test you, are you here with anyone today? Come on up, Mom. Around, please. Sorry, I didn't realize that you were here. Otherwise, I would have called you up earlier. Are you familiar with what happened?
Yes,
Did you hear?
yes.
Okay. If I test you right now for anything, what are you going to test positive for?
I was at a party with my friends. Like,
I don't care where, I don't care if you're hanging out with Jesus. I'm asking you, what are you going to test positive for? For what?
For drugs, for any drugs, negative, but for alcohol. Okay.
You're not going to test positive for weed.
Sorry.
All right, I'm going to send you right now. I want to know. I just want a confirmation. I want to know what, if anything, is going to test positive for. Can I provide you a lawyer today?
Okay.
I'll give you a lawyer today. What's he doing in life now? He's in high school, I would presume, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is he
Going,
hanging out with bad people? What's he?
I guess that it was a shock to me too, but I guess.
Let's not talk about, I don't want to talk about the case. I just want to know what's going on with his life and how we can make things go in a straight line. Because, you know, Mr. Mobley, you know, life goes like this. At times we start to veer off. You know, your mom, us, we are here to come hit you to get back in the straight and narrow.
Yes, sir.
You're only 17. You now are charged with a burglary case and a freaking fraud felony, which will kill you. Because first off, it's really hard to get a job when you have a felony on your case, number one. Number two, when it's a fraudulent felony, it's called a crime of moral turpitude, meaning that it's even more difficult because you are branded a thief. And no one gives jobs to thieves. And you're only 17. You need to work on really getting it on the straight line, because once you veer off, and if you veer off too far, you're hosed forever. Because if you can't get a job, you're not gonna have money. And this life is about money. If you ain't got no money, it's gonna be, this life is a journey, right? It can be either a happy journey where you have love, family, vacations, nice cars, nice house, or it can be a miserable, rotten experience where you're scrounging for pennies, just scrounging for food to eat. And if you have convictions on your record, that's what life's going to be.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to make sure from now on that you're going to be on the straight and narrow. And if I find that you veer off, I will put you in jail. And I don't care if mom is kicking and screaming, you've got, I don't care. My sole purpose in life are two things: protect the public, and number two, make sure that you get on the straight and up. Do you understand? I will do whatever you need from me. So if he's hanging out with bad people, if he's staying out in the middle of the night, if he's trying to act like a fool while you try to work, you tell me what you need and I'll give it to you. You know? So first off, what I'd like to do is I want to send him for a drug test to see what, if anything, he's going to test positive for. I'll have him come back, and then I'm going to try to get you a lawyer in the interim, and we'll figure out how to go forward. Okay? So if you just want to kind of hang tight, I'm going to send you for a drug test. You have to come back. You don't come back, I issue a warrant. You understand? All right, Mr. Mobley, come on.
All right, Judge, page 13. I've been fined.
Look at you trying to, look at you, look at you. Did she pronounce it correctly?
No, it's, I was gonna say it, but I didn't want to.
How do we pronounce it?
Fine.
Fine. Close.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Fine, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to a year in jail because of the high blow. So it's a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. Okay.
2024 at about 2:34 a.m. Officers observed a vehicle fail to maintain a single lane and drive on the wrong side of the road, so they conducted a traffic stop. Officers observed the defendant to have a strong odor of alcohol on the breath, slurred speech, and glossy eyes. The defendant admitted to having a vodka cranberry. Standard field sobriety test was conducted, 6 of 6 on the HGN, 4 of 8 on the walk and turn, 3 of 4 on the one leg stand. DIC was bred and breath was consented to, and it was a 0.153 and a 0.154.
Fine, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or dope, I'll revoke your bond, put you in jail. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does she have any prior DWIs?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have a Texas driver license?
A permit.
How old are you? You're 20. Are you allowed to drive by yourself? I'm ordering you not to drive then. You now have a DWI, you've got a permit, you don't even have a license. You are not allowed to drive. I'm gonna have you sign a paper with me, an affidavit promising me you're not gonna drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. If I find that you drive for any reason, you will go to jail and I will have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing an additional 6 months every time. Do you understand? Who are you here with? Anyone? How did you get here?
My boyfriend dropped me off.
I hope you didn't drive. Or if you did, do not drive home. I'm warning you. I don't care.
No, he's like in the parking lot.
Okay. Above all else, so you said you're 20. What do you do in life, man?
Currently, I am unemployed because I was serving, like I was in the serving industry, and then just currently I'm just unemployed. But I've been trying to find a job.
How do you support yourself?
Currently, I am living with my boyfriend, and I just DoorDash time to time.
You do DoorDash with a permit?
Well, me and my boyfriend do it. It's under his name. Like I'm in the passenger.
All right.
Yeah.
Fine. Don't drive. You understand? Did you want to apply for an appointed lawyer, man?
That was a
All
lie.
right, we will give you a lawyer. Well, let me ask you this. Did you graduate from high school?
I'm sorry?
Did you graduate from high school?
Oh, yeah.
You did? Okay. Do you mind giving me an application, please? I'm going to give you an application. I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, you'll get with trace for your bond conditions. Do not consume alcohol. Otherwise, you will go to jail. Don't use any dope. I don't know what kind of boyfriend you have, but if he's the kind that trying to pulls people down because you like to smoke weed and consume alcohol,
No.
beware. You understand, man? You're 20. So if I put your bond at $10,000 and you don't have anyone to pony up that kind of money, guess what happens? you'll be stuck like Chuck in jail until this case is over with. So when you're out there in the free world, make good decisions.
Yes, Your Honor.
You only get one chance. All right. For sure, of course. I know.
Sorry. Can I give you a cause number?
Let me just sign this PC form and then, yeah. Hi, Mr. V.
Hey, Your Honor, good to see you.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Okay, what you got?
251-0615. ABI out of a behavioral center.
Is on Moses?
Moses. Yes,
Okay.
sir. It's an ABI out of a behavioral center. I subpoenaed the surveillance. They sent me a letter back saying I need a court order written and signed by the judge. I have one. It's joint. He saw it. He has no objection. No objection. It's great. So I need to.
He's in jail anyways, huh?
Yeah, sir. So I just need that and then that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Guys, I'm almost done with the arraignments. Sure.
Okay, thank you. Come on up.
So any,
Page 13 and 19, co-defendants,
what's the last name for this? You know?
Ortega. Page 13.
How many more? How many more?
Two more.
Okay. Are you Genevieve Ortega? Geneva Ortega. Ma'am, you're charged with assault, bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, this one's long, Your Honor. On June 24th, 2024, officers were dispatched to a road rage incident and spoke with two complaining witnesses who advised that the incident started at the gate of their apartment complex as they were trying to leave. The defendant's car was stopped in front of the gate and complaining witness then honked her horn so she can move her car out of the way. The complaining witness made a right turn to.
Hold on. Co-defendant. Are you Ms. Torres? Ma'am, you're charged with assault, bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You speak English, correct? Okay. So I think where we left off, you said that there was a defendant's car was by the front gate of apartment complex.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And the complaining witness one honked her horn so she can move the car out of the way. The complaining witness one made a right turn to go westbound on West Little York, and complaining witness one and co-defendant stopped at a red light. The co-defendant, Ms. Torres, started throwing things at her car. They went westbound on West Little and then made a right at Eldridge, and defendant Torres yelled, "Pull over, let's fight." The complaining witness two said that they continued going northbound on North Eldridge, and the defendant brake checked her several times before stopping in front of the complaining witnesses.
It's like something I see out of YouTube, man.
Defendant then got out of the passenger seat, walked up to the complaining witness one's vehicle, attempted to open the side door to remove her from the vehicle. Complaining witness two got out of the passenger seat to prevent defendant from opening the driver's side door. The defendant was able to open complaining witnesses one door because when complaining witness two opened the door, it unlocked all of the doors. The defendant grabbed complaining witness one, dragged her out of the vehicle by the hair, struck her with a closed fist towards her head, scratched her, and threw her in the dirt. Complaining witness
So
tried.
who did that specific? Was that
Defendant
Ortega or Torres?
Ortega. And then complaining witness tried to break up the fight, and while doing so, the defendant grabbed him by the genitals and would not let go. Both complaining witnesses felt pain/discomfort. Injuries were observed on the complaining witnesses, and the defendant Ortega admitted to the assault but said the complaining witnesses were the aggressors. Witness and video confirmed that the defendant was the aggressor. As far as
What about the
defendant number two,
genitalia grab, Pavel? No one charged on that one?
don't know. It's probably-
You know?
Yeah, not as of right now.
Ladies, I'm gonna find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Ms. Ortega, if I send you for a drug test right now, what are you gonna test positive for? I'm sending you for a drug test right now. You too, Ms. Torres. I expect you guys to come back. At that time, we'll talk about your lawyer. If you do not come back, I will set your bond extremely high. I'm done playing games. I will not stand for it. I'm gonna do everything in my power to protect every single person of Harris County. Do you understand? If I find that you violate that, I will do that to you guys. And I will revoke your bond, make it extremely high. You understand? Who is driving in this caper?
Ms. Ortega.
Ms. Ortega, do you have a Texas driver license?
Actually, let me driving.
Do you have a Texas driver license? I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with the complaining witness in this case, not to be in possession of weapons. I'm sending you now for a test and then you must come back. Do you understand? Okay, take a seat for me.
All right, Judge, page 14. Page 14, Owsley, Camille, come on up.
Good morning, Miss Owsley. Ma'am, you're charged with driving on a suspended license. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you, ma'am. You have the right to have an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am. Okay.
On July 18th, 2024, officers observed a vehicle with a defective passenger headlight, and the vehicle's registration lapsed on June 2024. A traffic stop was conducted, and officers made contact with the defendant, who identified herself by her Texas driver's license. The defendant was also asked for proof of her financial responsibility for the vehicle, to which the defendant stated that she thought her grandfather had purchased some for her vehicle. Once her driver's license was ran, officers discovered the driver's license was suspended on January 2nd, 2024, with no lift date for failure to appear.
Okay, so it wasn't for any kind of ALR suspension, anything like that, wasn't?
No.
Just, okay. Ma'am, I'm gonna find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to drive. You understand? If I find that you drive, I'll revoke your bond, put you in jail. You will not get more PR bonds. How old are you, ma'am? What do you do for a living?
I work at an auto mechanic place.
And how much money do you make a month?
1,000.
You have any children?
I'm in school too,
Where do you go to school?
criminal justice. I'm
Really? You need to study this case right here, huh?
And I do have proof of insurance.
Don't say anything. Did you want to apply for an appointed lawyer, man? Okay, we will give you an application. Don't drive. And we're gonna create bond conditions for you, you know, not to drive. Do not leave until you sign these conditions, and then I'll have you speak to lawyer here momentarily. All right, please.
All right, Judge, page 18, Gilman.
Steve? Oh, sorry, there's too many mics.
Sykes, by chance.
Is in felony 187. I'm sorry, are you ready?
It's okay.
187-7307.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Skillman. Good morning. Mr. Skillman, you're charged with possession of marijuana. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. Okay.
On July 18th, 2024, officers conducted a trespass investigation at a convenience store and observed the defendant leaning against the outside wall, smoking a marijuana joint and cigarettes. Upon arrival, the defendant attempted to walk away. Officers made contact with the defendant, and the defendant immediately admitted to having marijuana on his person. 8.6 grams of marijuana was recovered.
So is there a co-defendant in this case?
I see a felony for Donald Sykes,
Yeah.
but let's see if that's the same transaction.
Mr. Skillman, I'm gonna find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond. Just don't get in any more trouble. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm not gonna put any conditions on your bond. Just don't pick up any new cases.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, as long as you can just not get in any more trouble, I won't revoke your bond in this case. So what do you do in life now?
I'm ready to go to school.
You said you're in school?
Ready to go to school.
Well, you're getting ready to go. How old are you, man?
57.
Come on.
Just decided to go. I ain't never been. I don't want to go paralegal. So,
Do you want to apply for an appointed lawyer?
yeah, please.
All right. You give me an application. All right. We're gonna give you an application. Don't go anywhere while I find you someone, a lawyer to talk to you, okay? Come on.
Judge, page 21, Williams.
This is Darius Williams. All right, good morning, Mr. Williams. Sir, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with assault of a family member and resisting arrest. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine on each case. We're gonna do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
On July 19th, 2024, officers were dispatched to an address in reference to a family assault where they met with the complaining witness who said that her boyfriend assaulted her. She advised that he grabbed her by both arms, threw her up against a wall, attempted to strangle her. She advised that it was difficult for her to breathe, and she stated that the defendant got her onto a bend and attempted to strangle her again, and she kept pushing him off of her. He told her, "Bitch, I'll kill you." The complaining witness stated that the defendant stated he would kill himself, grabbed a gun, and smashed her work computer with it. She advised that she felt pain. Officers accompanied the complaining witness to the apartment so that she could gather her stuff. And as she was gathering her things, officers heard a muffled man's voice. The officers found the defendant laying in bed. The officers detained him, and the defendant pushed the officer off and tried to run out of the apartment. The defendant was caught and continued to wrestle officers trying to break free. 18.3 grams of marijuana was found, which the defendant admitted was his.
Mr. Williams, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. And protective order was issued in this case on the 20th of this month. Get to know it. If you violate that protective order, the state can and will file a violation of a protective order against you. It's one of the worst cases you can pick up. And I'm telling you now, I will protect every person in Harris County. If that means putting you in jail and keeping you there at a $150,000 bond, I'm going to do it in a heartbeat. So don't have any contact with the complaining witness in this case. I don't care what you want. I don't care about your feelings. Do you understand? Don't have contact and don't have weapons. I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I'm going to test you. If I find that you're using anything at all, likewise, you will go to jail. Do you understand? How old are you, sir? Okay. We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I will have you go to Victoria Center, reset. After that, you're going to get with Tracy for your bond conditions. After that, you'll be free to go. Remember, you're walking a thin line. You step off that, it's going to crack and your butt's you're going to fall through the ice. It's going to freeze. You understand? Okay, man, come on.
Right this way. All right, Judge, last one, page 16. Ruben, come on up. Flores Ortega.
What's the last name?
Ruben on page 16.
Good morning, Mr. Rubin. Sir, you're charged with illegal dumping. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present during questions in any views of the state of Texas. If you cannot afford a lawyer will be appointed to represent you, sir. Okay.
A video showed a black Toyota Camry come into view of the camera, at which time the debris, which was household trash and tires, weighing 75 pounds, was not on the ground. Sometime later, the video showed the same vehicle leave the scene and the debris was on the ground. The vehicle belonged to the defendant. And upon comparing both the photo and video of the defendant, they were both the same person. The driver's face can be seen and was the only one in the vehicle at the time of the incident.
Did they see him do it or no?
The video showed him in his vehicle. The video showed his vehicle,
Go to the spot.
and then there was no debris on the floor when he got there. And then after he left, there was the debris on the floor. And the vehicle belonged to a Ruben Gonzalez Garza Jr. And using the photo, it was compared with the video. So I guess using his ID video or his ID photo.
I mean, I get the analogy, like you see me walk into the house, my shoes are wet, my pants are wet, right? So you can surmise it's raining outside, but you haven't seen it's raining. You haven't looked outside. Here, we have him on video going to the place, but you don't see him dumping it. You just see the debris there when he leaves.
But it's more.
Where's it? I don't understand how. So how is it that you don't have him actually doing it? How, because
The camera angle, it's just the way.
I say so.
No, don't. Mr. Rubin, I'm going to find that there's probable cause for now. Okay. You need a lawyer to represent you. Perhaps things will change in a bit and then, but what do you do in life?
I was,
I don't know. I don't want to talk about the case. I just want to know what you do for a living. Do you work? Do you have an income? Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
the VA has gave me a number to get in contact with the lawyer. I found that out yesterday when I was talking to an
They
advisor.
pay for it for you?
I believe so. I have a number to call. Prior to that, I'm was receiving treatment for PTSD and getting my benefits. I found that I could do that tomorrow too.
Do you have an income now or no? No. I can give you a lawyer today if you'd like.
I'd rather go with the VA with the number that they gave me to call.
Okay. Well, you can always come back if you want. If it doesn't work out for you, come back and I can give you a lawyer. We can give you a court-appointed lawyer. You know, it's up to you.
Can I say something?
Let's not talk about the case. I know you want to.
No,
but
not about the case. I was just gonna say that I haven't been in trouble with anything in 20 years.
Correct.
So,
And that's why you're out. Because if you been in trouble, you probably would have been in lockup. You know, so that's why you're out. And we gave you a free bond for you to get out, to be able to fight this case, to get to the best resolution that you can, you know. I'm not going to put any conditions on your bond. Just be careful. Don't pick up any new cases. That's the only thing I'm going to ask, you know.
so I need to speak to a lawyer then, and then
You
what?
need a lawyer. You're facing 6 months in jail. You absolutely need a lawyer to represent you. And like I said, I'm willing to give you one if you want one, or you can go to the VA. I'm willing to give it to you for free. So if you go to the VA and they try to charge you some kind of fee for the lawyer, just come back to me. I'll give you a lawyer for free.
Well, I'll get a hold of a lawyer first.
It's up to you. You can do whatever you want. Just like I said, please don't get in any
Am I
more
able
trouble.
to talk to the prosecutor?
No, it's probably not a good idea because anything you say, they can and will use it against you. The slightest thing you say, they're going to sit there, they're going to type it, and they can use it to prove guilt. So that's why it's probably not, you know? Okay, really, we're trying to help you, I promise. Okay, so like I said, go out there. If you have any issues, we'll try to get a lawyer, come back to me, I'll give you.
Today?
Sure, yeah, in about 30 minutes, I can give you a lawyer.
I need to go. I got to take.
Go, you come back. I'll try to have a lawyer waiting for you.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Hey, Vic, can you reach out to the Mac for Mr.
This is the Mac. The Mac is here to say goodnight. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. It really lightened up the mood after having to scold and clean between your toes. Yeah, Vic, reach out to the Mac. Also, I need to add that clip of the judge saying, Vicky's not here. I need to add that to my intro. Okay, friends, I don't know if I'll see you tomorrow. Chances are slim. If I do put something on, I'm going to be putting it on while I'm doing other stuff and probably not talking like verbally, but I will put the StreamYard thing for one. Nobody's gonna know this context though. Someone I used to work with used to say, remember to clean your navel. I'll put the StreamYard thing up with a good amount of time. So if it is happening, you'll know ahead of time. Sleep tight. Nearly the end of the Friday for those of you in the US, because I actually know the time now. 5:18, 6:18, or if you're unlucky and you're in Thurston, it's only 3:18. SARS. All right. See you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, one sec. Winchester's gone to, she's walking away. Bye.